go. Okay. Hi, Delfina.
Hi,
How are you
Melanie.
doing today?
I'm good, and you?
Good too, thank you. How was your day so far? What did you do?
My day was good. I woke up this morning. I went to Soho. I went to Nespresso to buy some coffee, and then I walked around, had some lunch, and then I had to buy a gift for my dad actually. So I went to the shop, but they didn't have what I was looking for. So I came back home, and that's pretty much it. Then I have a workout class later on,
Wow,
and
that's
that's
good.
pretty much it. Yes.
Cool, nice. So, how do we want to use this coaching session in terms of what do you want to improve on?
Actually, I've been thinking about something that I want to improve, that it's something that I've been struggling with since I'm born, that it's my sense of attention. I'm very distracted, and sometimes I really try to focus on things and I can't. For example, even when I'm walking on the street, maybe there's like a path that I do every time, and I forget, like if I go there the next day and it's super easy, the way back home, maybe I forget and I don't know where I am, and I'd like to improve that a lot, yeah.
Hmm. Why do you want to improve that?
Because I always need someone otherwise, or maybe my phone, and if I realize that if one day my phone is dead and I'm alone, then I'm in trouble. So it's kind of like a security thing also, I think.
Hmm. Can you explain a bit more what you mean by security thing?
Yes, well, maybe here it's not that a big deal, but where I'm from in Argentina, um, it's if I would be lost, it's not good depending where you are and at what time. It's maybe not a good idea to be lost. It's better if you know where you are and where you're going, because if you don't know where you're going, maybe you go to an area that you're not supposed to enter or something, so that might be dangerous. That's what I mean by that. Maybe here in the US, that doesn't really apply. But yeah, I might be back home anytime visiting or something, so that's why.
Hmm. How, on an emotional level, do you feel when you get lost?
I feel so desperate. Well, if I have my phone, it's okay because I can use it. But again, for example, if I'm back home, depending where I am, I wouldn't take out my phone. So, or maybe I have to quickly look at it and then just continue walking. But maybe if I went the wrong way, I have to look at it again and it becomes stressful. Uh, yeah, I don't like it.
Okay, let me summarize our goal for this session. Okay, so you want to improve on your sense of orientation because you struggled all your life basically with it. It makes you feel desperate and is very stressful when you lose orientation. And you know that like you would just want to have the insurance for when the phone is not working or the battery is dead, that it helps you finding your way. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So how would it look like if you had all the orientation in your head?
Um, what do you mean? What it would look like? In what sense?
How would you feel if your sense of orientation was on top of your game?
Oh, I would feel more confident in the sense of, no, like for example, right now here in New York, every time I leave my house, I need to check my phone at least 4 times. So I don't know, it's kind of annoying also, rather than like dangerous or any of that. So I would feel more relaxed, more safe. I don't know, more everything.
More everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you for that. Um, so help me explain what progress has been made so far with your sense of orientation.
Well, now I can get back home from the metro station, which is a progress. That's actually some improvement. Um, but for example, like I know that the shape of New York is quite easy, and the streets and everything, it's kind of square. So if you go up, you go up, and if you go down or to the left or right, then you can add or subtract numbers. So that should be easy, but it's not really easy for me. So I can basically like get around near my home, maybe a 2 block ratio, this way, that way, every like in a square. But if you tell me now go to Soho, that is just a maybe 15-18 minute walk, I don't know if I would get there on my own, honestly. I actually wouldn't. I know I wouldn't.
What helped you orientate in that square around your home?
Um, I guess walking past the same places many times, and since it's a place, for example, from the metro station to my house, I need to get there, like I have to get home. So it's kind of me forcing myself to do it, so I manage. But when there's so many other locations, I don't happen to do the same for everywhere. So maybe that's why I managed with this short distance.
And why don't you do it for the other places?
Because I don't really have a need, I guess, or because there's so many places. So maybe today I wanted to go to Soho, maybe another day I want to go to Midtown, or maybe I want to go before Soho, I want to go somewhere else and then to Soho. So I would have to learn how to get from that point to this one. So it's much more than just from here to one place. That's why.
Okay, let me summarize that point because that sounds to me very important. It is not so important, and there's not that need to know the way to all the places. So the goal would be rather to not feel stressed out when you lose orientation. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, that's also true. I agree. But also, I guess some sort of sense of direction I would like to also improve. So, yeah, I mean, I would like to, for example, maybe, I don't know, for example, today I went to Nespresso. I'm not expecting myself to know where that shop is exactly, but maybe I do expect myself to know how to get to the area of Soho, or more or less, or to tell you, like, oh, okay, I know it's there or here. So to know that, that would be good also.
Which three areas of New York would you name that is important for you to know the way to?
So Soho, I go quite often. Then probably East Village and Midtown, I guess, or Tribeca, somewhere there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And based on everything that we talked so far about, what would you say are most effective options for you to get those to that sense of orientation?
Well, I guess I would have to like force myself to go many times first to one place so that I would remember. But since I know that won't happen because I never go to just one place, then that's why I don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I really wanted to, I would have to force myself to always go to the same place first or to at least think about it a lot, how to get there. But then again, I don't. So I don't know what I should be doing instead.
What has to happen to make it happen, if I may use your own words?
Um, well, that's a good question, actually. What has to happen? Um, so the reason why it's not happening, I answer instead, is because I don't always go to the same place. So I don't know, maybe one day I want to go for dinner to East Village, or another day, today I had to go to Soho, so I walked there because it was nice. Or I don't know, maybe I need to go somewhere in Midtown. So that's what's happening. Therefore, I'm not always going to the same place,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I'm not remembering by heart the way there.
Mm-hmm. What would you prioritize? Your wish that you had a better sense of orientation or going to the same place every time?
My wish, the first one. The first one you said, yeah.
Okay, so put that please. Can you put that for me into relation between like then no, let me formulate that other because that made a twist in my head. Can you put it into relation for me going to the same place more often, more frequently, and through that increasing your sense of orientation? As you said, this would be an option for you. How feasible is this on a scale from 1 to 10?
I mean, it's feasible, but on a scale from 1 to 10, I guess um, maybe 7. But I wouldn't just go there. That's what I mean. Like, I could go there repeatedly, but in the middle, in between, I would go to other places, which usually tends to distract me or confuse me because I'm really like a mess when it comes to directions. So if I see something that distracts me or I go somewhere else the next day, then maybe I confuse.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the downside, I guess.
Okay. Let me grab on that word mess. How do you usually tackle a mess when it comes to orientation?
I grab my phone. I mean, the thing is, I do have a solution, which would be my phone, but I'd like to kind of force my brain to work a bit. So if I wouldn't have my phone, a mess would be me walking on the opposite direction for a while. When then after maybe 15 minutes, I realize it's wrong, so going back and then probably calling my boyfriend or something, and then freaking out and then asking people and then not understanding the directions and I get lost. I'm a mess. So that's what I mean by it.
Mm-hmm. So let me summarize that. When you do go into the wrong direction, like you really feel stress and this is a heavy emotional burden to you, and you wish to escape that feeling by having the right and proper orientation from the start.
That's right.
How do you deal with this stressful and this burden of emotion?
I can't really deal with it. I mean, I just feel that way, and then once I find the right path, I feel better in some way. But while I'm lost and while I know that I'm not going the right way, I don't know, it stresses me. I don't know, I can't really deal well with it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. What is your usual way to go to deal with this stress?
Um, I would take out my phone and look for the maps or call my boyfriend, and then he would be like, seriously, again? Like, come on, it's not that difficult. And I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, I know. So, yeah, I would just follow what he says. And then him on the phone, he can tell me like where to go, not even look by looking at a map, just by listening to where I am. So I get frustrated because I'm like, this is like a basic human thing to know where you are and where to go. It's not possible that I'm not capable of doing it. So, yeah, I don't know.
Mm. I'm just thinking of a question that would help you. If you would change your perspective, how would you help another person find your sense of orientation?
Mm, maybe actually that's a good question because if I have to think about it from outside, I would maybe tell someone to look at the map not when they're lost, but when they're not lost, like maybe at home or something, to understand better where things are,
Mm-hmm.
so that maybe it can help when you are lost. If you think back to that moment where you're not stressed and you know where things are, then maybe you can use that to know better where you are. That would be an option, I guess. Or yeah, maybe what I tell myself also sometimes that I should do more often, I guess, is to when I start freaking out and I don't know where I am, is to stop and maybe like look at the streets, look where I am, and to think or to look maybe at the buildings. Like here in New York, there's so many skyscrapers and stuff. So maybe I know, okay, that one is near my house, or that one is actually in the opposite direction. So if I just make a bit of sense, maybe then I can help myself a bit more. So I guess that's what I would do.
Okay. So what about is your next trip or your next route that you have to take in New York?
Actually, this afternoon I have to go to this boxing class, which you see, like it's something that stresses me. So the first thing I do in the morning is I look at how to get there, like which is ridiculous because I'm not going there until late in the afternoon. But I'm like, oh, let's see how do I get there. Like I already start freaking out. And there's usually like I get a lot of options with the metro, with the train, and I usually pick the one that doesn't make me change trains because if I have to change, I have a higher risk of getting lost. So even if it takes longer, I'd rather stay in one train. So yeah, that's tonight. So I don't know if maybe I should risk it and take the one with train connections or just stick to the one that is longer but just one train.
Which of the options that we talked to do you think is most helpful for your upcoming situation this afternoon?
Mm, I think definitely looking at the map beforehand so that I understand what direction first I'm going to, and then once I get out of the metro, I have to walk for a bit. So maybe I'd rather look at that before, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and a bit at the name of the streets, so that once I'm there, I'm like, okay, this is familiar. Like this is not new. I think that could help.
That sounds good. Then I would say that is our way forward. This is our concrete next step that we do commitment on. And then I'm looking forward to hearing how that went. And then we can work further on this topic.
Perfect. I'll call you if I'm lost. Okay.
Awesome. Do that. I can guide you.
Okay. Thank you.
See you then. Bye bye. Feedback? No.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just while I was writing, I missed the final, like how you guys ended up. So I have no idea what that was. All that.
So we established a very clear way forward, because since she has the boxing appointment this afternoon, she will look on the map and the metro guidelines beforehand to make herself familiar with the street names and the direction she has to go. And then also...
that was it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So in general, I think it was a good talk. It was very clear, a lot of summarizing, short icebreaker. How was your day? To just get to know each other better, of course, and get to inform you. A lot of good questions. What do you want to focus on? What do you want to improve? Going to clarify reality questions, and you're really good at making her think. Like for example, what has to happen for you to make it happen, and that with her words you basically transferred back. So that was a good way for her to picture a perfect scenario without you literally saying, "Hey, what's the perfect scenario?" You did miss some following up questions. For example, you asked to give it in a scale of 1 to 10, like what do you think, and she gave it a 7. But you didn't follow up on that. Instead, you chose to summarize. So it's like, I don't think it's necessarily a bad option, but I would love to see that in such a question there's a lot of meaning. Because if she gives it a 7, what is the difference between going to an 8 or being lower? Like, that would have been interesting. I love towards the end that you asked, like, hey, I want you to change your perspective. How would you help someone with this problem? And that made her really think, oh yeah, I would make him or her look at the map in advance, and that actually led to your ending, which I thought that was the ending, but I just wasn't sure because I was writing. Then you asked, just to kind of get back to previous points you discussed, which of our topics that we discussed now will be most useful for your trip tonight. And that's how you got back to now, okay, that's really that one. If I would change my perspective, I would advise someone to look at the map beforehand. And Delfina already mentioned in advance that the first thing she does when she wakes up is like, okay, how do I get there? And then it stresses her out. So with that saying, I think it's both good that you use that for the next steps, but it also causes a question like, hey, why do you in the morning check it for the very first time when you wake up? Just to kind of understand it a little bit better. But I think you handled it pretty well with making her think about it. So not necessarily, because then you could very easily become directive, I guess, but maybe understanding the problem a bit better. But the goal was well established. There were a lot of reality questions. The options were, none of the options were from you. It was all from Delfina herself. And the will was clear. So I think it was, for next week, Delfina knows what she has to do, and you will either receive a call or you will not receive a call.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for your feedback. Do you want to add anything?
No, I have nothing to add.
Thank you.